Welcome to Inside the Box, episode 2.
This is Lucas.
This is Vazgen, and today we'll be discussing the FA Cup quarterfinals between Liverpool and Manchester United.
We'll also be discussing Ten Hag's future, and also we're going to be talking about Liverpool's life after Klopp.
Perfect. You want to get started?
You want to get started? Yeah, of course. Let's see. Let's just quickly mention Coventry City's run in the Premier League. In the FA Cup. They reached the semi-final. They're going to Wembley's and their insane comeback against Wolves.
Yeah, I saw that last 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to win the game. That was crazy.
97th and 99th minute was insane. And considering the fact that Wolves actually came back in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, to have the energy and all the strength to actually win the game at the end. Insane result, we have to mention.
That is very insane.
And now they get to play against United in the semi-final.
I think that's the magic of the FA Cup. You get small teams that are just amazing in the cup ties because they play it as if it's a final, and you can't make anyone an underdog in this cup tie. Like, I've seen so many teams, beat big teams, and so you can't take them for granted. And so it's going to be an interesting semifinal between United and Coventry. If United go into that game and don't take them seriously,
you think
it'll be an upset.
I think they can not take them seriously and still go to the final. It's going to be an easy game for United. That's what I expect.
Interesting. Okay.
The fairy tale story has to end.
I think it's going to go to the final. Let's do this.
It's just a pessimist in me talking, I guess. But let's go to the bigger game, to the Liverpool-Man United game. The one that ended in 4-3, Man United winning the game. And you want to?
Yeah, I can give a little recap of the game. So Manchester United started off pretty strong, and they scored an early goal to take the lead, and they put a lot of pressure on Liverpool's defense. I thought they were really energetic. They had a lot of pace, and Liverpool could not deal with it for the first 20 minutes, I would say. And I was very surprised that that's how the game started. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the first 20, 25 minutes were the only time when United were actually good. Apart maybe there were actually a few more minutes in, say another 10 minutes maybe in extra time. But overall, yeah, that was the best period of Man United. And they were winning 1-0. They maybe should have scored the second one. But as soon as Liverpool scored their first goal, when they equalized, that's when United collapsed. They quickly considered the second goal, and you thought this is going to be basically the same story from Man United. Now they're going to concede maybe the third one, the fourth one, and maybe furthermore. But no, it's actually Liverpool have kind of been poor. They did not kill the game when they should have, because at some point Man United went to desperate attacks with sending their center back Maguire into attack when they were only defending with Dalot and Bruno Fernandes, and injured Bruno Fernandes who could not run. So that were the only 2 defenders they had. So you thought at some point that Liverpool will punish that attacking-minded United that had to equalize desperately. But it did not happen, and Liverpool had lots of chances, not clear-cut chances, but counters when they should have scored. That counter when they were going 4-on-2 or 5-on-2, and they just made a couple of poor passes, just lost the momentum of the counter. And that was just the story of the night for Liverpool. They did not score when they should have, and United punished them for that. So yeah, that's basically the story of the game.
Yeah, as a neutral, it was very entertaining to watch the game. I didn't want either team to win, so I wasn't rooting for either of them. But as a football match, it was end-to-end, and it was competitive, which I was surprised to see. I thought Liverpool would win easily against United. I haven't been convinced by them this year. And so the fact that United showed up to the game, I guess it's not surprising if you look at last season and they went to the FA Cup final and they were competitive against City with 2-1 loss. So they do have history in this competition. And so anytime it's a cup tie, quarterfinal, at home, maybe my expectations should have been different. But on to the semifinals for Manchester United. So maybe we can talk a little bit about Ten Hag and see how he's been doing and discuss his tenure at Manchester United and if we think he should be United coach or not.
Yeah, let's transition to that topic. You want to maybe summarize what he has achieved as
Yeah,
a
so I'll give
coach?
a quick summary to the audience. So in his first season, some of his achievements were the EFL Cup. He qualified for the Champions League by finishing third, and he was also FA Cups runners up against Manchester City. And so, as a first season, I think when you hear those results, I would say it's pretty successful for a first year coach at Manchester United. And then the second season, this season, they are through to the semifinals for the FA Cup. They're sixth place in the Premier League, which is, in my opinion, favorable to them because of the way they've been playing. Their goals scored is 39, and their goals conceded is 39. So when you read that and there's a 0 goal difference, I would expect them to be a mid-table club. So being sixth place, not successful in my eyes because they're lucky to be there. And they also finished fourth in the Champions League, which, in my opinion, with having Copenhagen and Galatasaray in that group, you should be doing better with the stature of Manchester United. So that's a good summary for his first few seasons. So I would say first season's pretty successful. Second season, there's been a major drop off. And I also wanted to give a little summary of the players he signed because that's going to be an important thing we talk about. So since he's been the manager at Manchester United, he signed Anthony, Hoyland, Casemiro, Mount, Martinez, Onana, Malacia, Amrabat, Eriksson, and Evans. Just reading that list to you, Gugas, there's a lot of players there that I'm really surprised that they would even consider signing them.
You know how you can judge that the list is not that good. The signings have not been that good. Is the fact that Evans is actually one of their best signings.
That's hilarious,
He
right?
actually helped them a lot at some point of the season. Yeah, just to be honest, the signings not impressing, but I'm not gonna judge him too much on the signings, although I should because as it turns out that he's actually one of those. He's the main person who is basically asking for those players. He's the one making the decisions when it comes to transfers, due to Man United not having the clear structure of how the club is run. So it's basically the responsibilities on him, and the signings just not been good. From that list, maybe I could say Malacia has been a good signing, and maybe Casemiro too, because just he held them like in the first season. But yeah, Holland has just not been good enough for that level of Premier League. So yeah, the signings have been average. I'm not going to mention Anthony because I think it's obvious. It's probably one of the worst signings in the history of the Premier League. I'm going to go that far and just say that
I think it's the worst.
it's 120 million, right? Yeah, for the guy who scored. I think he scored less than Maguire, I think, or something like that. So he's somewhere. I think he definitely scored less than Van Dijk. So he scores less than center backs basically. So it's just insanely bad statistic for him, and it's not just the goals; it's also the way he plays. But that's a different subject to discuss. So yeah, as you mentioned, the first season has been good. He did what he was asked to. He brought the club back to the Champions League. He won the trophy. I know people are skeptical about the EFL Cup, but it's a trophy. At the end of the day, you always want to win a trophy.
Exactly.
So he achieved that. But when me, when I judge the coaches, I always look at trophies. I always look at the results, but also mainly look at the performances, because when you coach a big club, no matter how poor you are, you can still win trophies.
Mm-hmm.
You can still win games because you have the quality players. So I also have to look judging based on the performances. And honestly, when it comes to performances from the first season, I've always been asking myself, what are they trying to play? What's the style he's been trying to establish? Because I'm sure you also have no idea, and the fans have no idea. You go into the games and don't understand what to expect. Yeah, he's putting them into positions, but putting players into position is just not enough, I would say. Don't you think so?
No, I definitely agree with you on this topic. I think he's been all over the place in terms of his playing style. I think his first season, he was taking over a team that was very good on the counterattack. And so he leveraged that and played well. But this is nowhere near what I think Manchester United fans would have expected for him to come and implement. The type of football that they were playing in Ajax was completely different to what we're seeing today. And that could be because of the players, but he's responsible for signing a lot of these players.
I mean, he himself came out and said, if you are expecting me to establish the same type of football I established at Ajax, then you just should not be expecting me to do that because that's just not going to happen. So for him to say that was like a couple of months ago. For him to say that, just it's weird because that's the main reason you are brought to the club, because the fans and your employers, they wanted to see that. They wanted to see
why
that
would
kind
you
of
say
football.
that?
That's the reason they brought you to win games, and also just to play that beautiful football. Because I don't know, it's a weird comment to me, and basically showed me that Ten Hag, he himself doesn't know what to do with that team. So he making those comments is just trying to kind of secure himself from criticism, saying, you know what, don't expect that from me yet. I know why you guys expecting that from me. I'm not gonna do that. So that's been the case, and yeah. So the performance, I think the first season again, he got away with the performance with the results.
Mm-hmm.
He got the results, but the performance has not been convincing. And you can always forgive the coach for that, saying, you know what, first season he came to a new league, new culture, new language, everything is new for him. So maybe he got the results. He just built the main foundation. He's gonna go building towards playing better football,
Mm-hmm.
establishing his style. But and so he brought a goalkeeper, for example, that was supposed to actually help him. People said that's the main thing. He cannot play this type of football because he doesn't have a
They
goalkeeper.
blamed it all on
De Gea, who has actually been saving club for the past 12 years. So
the way they treated De Gea was the beginning of the end for me for Manchester United. Why would a player want to go to a club like that?
So yeah, and the treatment the bad treatment came not only from the Ten Hag, it also came from the board, also came from the fans, because the fans have been brainwashed with the idea with the goalkeeper who can play with his feet. Well, now they got the goalkeeper who can play with his feet, but the problem is that you don't have the coach who knows how to establish that system. He coached Anana at Ajax, so he knows Anana pretty well.
Yeah.
But the problem is that Ten Hag, the build-up they have is actually not any better than they had under the head. When they start from the back with the goalkeeper,
yeah, they kick it long.
Then what's the point you brought the hair? I think the numbers of long balls from a goalkeeper under the hair and under Onana are actually quite similar.
Have you looked at if his long ball percentage is good?
I've not looked how correct his passes are, but I know the number of long balls has not just decreased. I think it did actually even increase. I'm not sure. I have to look it up.
Because to just play a little devil's advocate here, a club like Arsenal, they play possession-based football, but you'll see that they'll pass long. But they have a goalkeeper that is pretty accurate of doing that, so they know that they're not going to lose the ball when they kick it long. And you can say the same thing about Manchester City.
Sure, but as a club like that, as an Arsenal, for example, they brought Raya because he can play those long passes or mid-range passes better than Ramsdale. But the issue is that Arsenal can also play short passes. So they can play different types of football, different types of passes.
Less predictable.
Yeah, so it's less predictable. But in Man United, it feels like they don't have a proper system established of how to play those short passes from the back. So, of course, their initial response is just play long. And that's just been a problem. And they also don't have a striker who can hold up that ball. It's not Rashford. It's not Bruno Fernandes who can just hold up the ball in the midfield because the guy can just be...
You don't think Højlund?
Højlund can, but he's super young. It's his first time in this league, and Premier League is very tough on the new guys. You gotta remember, you've seen how Saliba deals with Haaland, for example. If Saliba deals like that with Haaland, do you think he's going to be able to deal like that with Højlund? So it's always been it's not that easy. So my idea is that what has Ten Hag achieved as a coach when it comes to performances? I think they were better off under Solskjaer before they brought in Ronaldo.
I think in terms of winning, Ten Hag hasn't been that bad, just considering his first season. But yeah, I agree. His playing style, which is, at the end of the day, I think both of us can agree, we don't want a team that just wins, but the football is boring. The football is dreadful. The football is not exciting. We watch the game because of the process, because of the passion of the game, not just because of the results. And so if you consider all of that, I would say that Ten Hag has been not performing well, and he's on the chopping block, in my opinion. The new ownership is here. They might give him a chance. I think if you look historically, when a new owner comes in, by 6 months, 1 year, they usually get their own manager. They replace the current manager and they bring in someone new to kind of refresh the project. And so that's my prediction. What I think is going to happen. I think he's going to get a chance, and unless he turns this around, starts performing really well, and they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which I don't think is going to happen, then I think they're going to replace the manager. They're going to find someone new, and I think the rumor is that they might bring in the England manager,
Southgate.
Southgate.
I can't see to see that.
That was the news of the day, and I was very surprised. I was like, okay,
doesn't it be fun to watch? Honestly, I'm not sure that's even a decision that should be made. Should be even considered at Man United.
Yeah.
Why do they think it's a good idea to go into Southgate, like transition to Southgate? England national team are playing one of the most boring football in the national team world. So why do they think that bringing Southgate will solve their problems? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Well, again, it's a rumor, but
I don't think
when it's a rumor with Man United, it ends up being true.
Yeah, and if it's a ridiculous rumor, it's probably true. Yeah, but so with Ten Hag, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they're gonna sack him this season. Although for the Champions League results that he got this season, he should have been sacked just for that, because going fourth into the group of Copenhagen and Galatasaray is such a.
It's
not even the most optimistic fans of Copenhagen and Galatasaray could have predicted that. No one could have predicted that.
No one could have predicted that.
I thought maybe Galatasaray have a chance against them.
Were they even competitive? I don't remember them even being competitive.
I think they always had a chance to go, but I think after they lost to Galatasaray at home, I think it was the second game or third game, I don't remember correctly, or maybe I don't remember honestly which game. But once they lost to Galatasaray, they lost to Bar, and it became very shaky for them. So Ten Hag, I think he'll be given. I think he should be given the start of the next season as well, and then he should be judged very aggressively.
That's fair.
Every slip up should be taken seriously, and because there is no basis for him to just stay longer. He hasn't achieved that much, and he spent so much money as well. So I think the new board is your ownership is going to be just looking at him very carefully, and you understand you don't have much time.
Yeah.
You just don't have.
Do you want to move on and talk about
Klopp? Yeah, I think Liverpool? Yeah, I think we've summarized Ten Hag enough. So I think it's time to talk about Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool's life after he leaves.
Yeah, so I guess we can start by summarizing the 9 years that Klopp has had at Liverpool. Honestly, and I do have a list of his accomplishments.
And now when I'm looking at the list, it just looks ridiculously short. I thought it was going to be much, much longer. But you basically only have one line of the trophies.
Yep. He's won everything, so that's a big accomplishment itself. So I can list it out. So he's won 1 Premier League. He's won 1 Champions League. He's won 1 Super Cup, an FA Cup, 2-time EFL Cup champion, and 1 Community Shield. So the list is there, and then he's also come second to Premier League multiple times, and we all remember the season where they had 97 points and ended up not winning the title, which is incredible. They were runners-up in the Champions League. So it's not like he was, even though he didn't win those trophies, Liverpool have been a dominant force for 9 years. He's been at the club for 477 matches, and his win rate is 2.08 points per game, which is pretty impressive for that long, and considering how mid-table Liverpool were when he took over. And so if you look at the last 5 years, that's even better. So overall, I think Klopp is a legend. He will always be a legend for the Premier League, for Liverpool. It's sad to see him go because he was a big drama and excitement for the Premier League. And then as a Premier League and Arsenal fan, it's going to be a big miss. His teams are always exciting to watch as a neutral, and he plays football the right way. He's the type of coach that we all admire. But at the same time, I think it was time for the Premier League to get a refresher and maybe have a new rivalry in the hands. And what do you think about Klopp's time, and what's your analysis on it?
Honestly, I kind of feel bad for him because if it wasn't for Guardiola's amazing team, he would have achieved much, much more. He would have won, I think, 3 or 4 more Premier Leagues and probably more cups. So yeah, I just feel bad for him in that regards. But I think he enjoyed his time, regardless of those trophies that he lost narrowly with 97 or 98 points he got that season. So yeah, I feel just bad for him for that reason. But overall, it's just been amazing, right? Those 9 years, and me as a Guardiola fan, always those games, Man City versus Liverpool, always nervous because Liverpool would always give an amazing fight no matter where they were in the table, how tough their situation was with injuries and their form was not in a place or something like that, but they always gave an amazing fight. It was always one of the best games in terms of energy, in terms of high pressing, in terms of movement, in terms of just the quality of the game. And like his relationship with Guardiola was always interesting to watch, how they would praise each other. So yeah, the Premier League is just losing a legend. You can say that he's been a coach for 9 years. 9 years just makes me feel so old. That's like maybe 3 4 years, but it's actually been 9 years.
Yeah, and do you think he will come back? Because I feel like at 59 years old,
it's tough.
Being how successful he is and being how passionate he is about football, he might enjoy the retirement for a little bit, but I have a strong feeling that he might want to come back someday.
Yes, I mean, it's 50-50. Pretty much depends on how he deals with the 2 months of the vacation when he just starts it. Because, yeah, for surely he's going to enjoy his life. As he said, he wants to enjoy his supercars. He's going to enjoy that life for the first 2 months. But after that, knowing the competitive nature of those coaches, they always want to win. They always want to prove themselves. Like, they always want to be in those fights, in those games. So for them, it's always that competitive nature that comes out of them. So it pretty much depends if that nature is going to wake up in him. If it does, I feel like next year he's going to be back to the job. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just enjoys his life in Germany, just spending time with his family, with his kids. Just
yeah, I think it's 50-50 at this point.
I just think if he comes back, he's not gonna go. He's not gonna devote his entire life again back to some club. I think he'll. I think the perfect scenario for me and for Liverpool fans, I think they also like the scenario is he go after Euros are done this year. Nagelsmann goes to Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp
Interesting.
goes to just German national team because after Euros are done, German national team don't need a coach. They still need a coach, but it's not that urgent, and they'll just have someone. They'll have someone to manage the team for like 6 months, and then they'll hire Jurgen Klopp after he gets to have his rest.
That might be the perfect job for someone.
Julian Nagelsmann is a great replacement for Klopp. He's a perfect man for Liverpool. I'm not gonna say he plays the same style as Jurgen Klopp. No, it's a little bit different because Julian Nagelsmann he leans a little bit towards more Guardiola with more position style of football. He is a more tactician than Jurgen Klopp. And it's the famous stories that Julian Nagelsmann and Pep Guardiola always talk to each other, always discuss different ideas. So it's not going to be exactly the same type of football, but you still get that German culture, like German-driven personality, very physical, very disciplined. So they're still going to get that. So the transition is going to be much more smooth than compared to if they go with, let's say, De Zerbi, who is one of the candidates to replace Jurgen Klopp, which I think might be a terrible idea. I don't know if you agree.
What about Alonso?
I'm always...
Because that's the rumor that has been going around.
I think he's probably the main candidate, of course.
Yeah.
Because
former Liverpool player, has been amazing at Bayern this season. But just that season alone, what he's doing this season, Bayern being champions for 11 straight seasons, and him performing like this, going undefeated for 26 games, beating them twice, for playing the style that he's playing with his 2 wingbacks. I could just see how it could fit because Liverpool's style is like that too. They're very wingback based with Robertson and Trent Alexander. So I could just see how that could mesh. And then he's a former Liverpool legend, amazing player. And you know the thing that I say about holding midfielders, they always end up being the best coaches. And so it just fits Another holding midfielder as coach in the Premier League.
That's actually an interesting stat about the holding midfielders. I wonder if there's a bigger analysis besides Arteta, Guardiola, and Xabi Alonso now. I mean, also we have Xavi, who is the coach of Barcelona, although he wasn't a holding midfielder at all, but he was still a midfielder. Still a midfielder that progresses the ball, so similar type to them, I would say.
Yes,
just without defensive.
He could definitely play that role, in my opinion. He can play anywhere.
Just can't defend. Yeah. And I can imagine Xavi winning a header, for example. So yeah, that's the problem. But I guess, so as you said, Xabi Alonso is a great replacement. It sounds like a great replacement, but if I want to be skeptical, the fact that he has been coaching only for like a year and a half, I know he's doing an amazing job. The job just cannot be questioned. But
he also was coaching the under.
But I'm not even gonna take that seriously.
Consider that?
No, it's a little bit different. It's still an experience, but it's a little bit different. But it's not the same when you coach a big club like that.
Yeah.
So that fact that he's been in the job only for like a year and a half, it's gonna be a big step for him. So it's not that whether he's capable or not. Maybe he'll be capable later on, but right now it's a bit of a question. So if I were a Liverpool fan, I'll be questioning whether I want him right now or maybe later on. So, but again, he's such
he might not be ready for it either.
But the issue is that he's such a desired coach right now that if you don't take him now,
that's true.
You might actually.
Bayern Munich are after him. Real Madrid are considering him.
Real Madrid extended Ancelotti so for another 2 years.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
Was that
so
recently?
He's not going to Brazil as he was planning to. So he's just going to.
Which I don't understand why they would get rid of him.
Of
Ancelotti.
Well. Because Paris is just that kind of a person.
I know, but he's just so successful, and he wins you all the titles that you want. And he didn't win the La Liga last year, but he's going to win it this year. And
no, right now Ancelotti is a perfect type of coach for Real Madrid, so he's not going to leave. And so Liverpool I think they also understand they have to take the chance, because if you don't get Xabi Alonso right now, you might never get him again. So
exactly.
So another, I would say, just a quick note: who might be a good replacement? When we mentioned. Nagelsmann, we mentioned De Zerbi, we mentioned De Zerbi. Yeah, the reason I explained, I don't think he's a good option. It's just he never coached a big club, so I don't see him.
That's a big risk.
His style of football is a little bit crazy, and those crazy type of coaches rarely work out at big clubs.
Yeah,
and so the options we have is Xabi Alonso, Julian Nagelsmann, we have Robert De Zerbi, as we just said, and we also have Thomas Tuchel probably. I just want to. I just keep trying to name a German coach because
you have Mourinho as well.
If Mourinho comes to Liverpool, universe is going to collapse.
I think that would be the biggest surprise.
I don't think that will ever happen. But I would pay.
I would laugh.
I would pay anything to see that happen.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah. So I think it's just that probably Xabi Alonso is the most obvious candidate. I think that's what's going to happen most likely. I think Julian Nagelsmann is the best option, but it's lots of logistics, lots of contract details that need to be sorted out, lots of expenses. So it's a little bit too difficult to make it real. So probably Xabi Alonso. That's what's going to happen. I feel like, and I don't think he's going to fail. Now, whenever I say I'm being skeptical, I don't think he's going to fail. He's too smart of a coach.
That is true.
He has a lot of personality since he has a history with Liverpool. I don't think him being young coach at the big club is going to be an issue.
He's been there. That's the thing. That's the thing about former players. They know the environment. They might have not coached, but they know what it takes to be a good player, good team.
And it's also a factor of the big name, because let's say if I'm a player for Liverpool and Xabi Alonso walks into my dressing room and he's my coach and he's the legend of this club,
you got to respect him.
I'll be like, whatever this guy says, he's been successful. I'm going to listen to him. Doesn't matter what he says. So that's the effect he's going to have on a player. So I think he's the best option, and I think Liverpool are going to go with him, and I don't think he's going to fail.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that we have to consider is Liverpool's success. Are they going to be the same type of team? I think there's always going to be a transition period for that team because of Salah, because of Van Dijk. Both of those players are their cornerstones.
Yeah.
And we saw with Mane and Firmino, them leaving, and it's a matter of time that Salah and Van Dijk are also going to transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where we're going to see what the ownership is going to do. And in that sense, they have to back the manager. So they have to pick the right manager because there is a little bit of a rebuild happening.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think we kind of share the same opinion that was going to happen. I fully agree with you. So yeah, I think it's a good
time to stop today.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much. This was episode 2. Please subscribe to our channels, like our videos, and you'll see more of this type of content on a weekly basis. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.